Bickley Blast.
Type the word Brissett into your phone and it will likely autocorrect into brisket, and that's what the Cardinals' new incumbent quarterback was on Sunday. Jacoby was brisket, and the Seahawks were ferociously hungry birds, which is to say the Cardinals' embarrassing, dream-busting road loss in Seattle wasn't all Brissett's fault. This was an organizational debacle, from bad coaching to poor blocking, from bad tackling to poor execution. It was the kind of loss that nullifies their dramatic win on Monday Night Football, and the kind of loss that illuminates how inferior they are to the rest of the teams in the NFC West. And from preparation to adjustments, Jonathan Gannon was horribly outcoached on Sunday and remains the worst in the division by a mile. And personally, I feel kind of embarrassed. I raved about Gannon's performance in navigating the Kyler Murray dilemma and the national stage in Dallas. Now, I think he's back on a hot seat, or at least he should be. Remember how Napoleon had his Waterloo? Well, Gannon just had his Whisenhunt, an embarrassing loss in Seattle that changes the calculus entirely moving forward. After the game, Gannon was usually and again on auto repeat. He said, quote, "That falls on me." And as one Cardinal fan noted, how many times does he get to say that? My answer is never again. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW. Make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
I wouldn't say sloppiness. I think that we got outcoached and outplayed. We have to play a lot better versus good teams to have a chance to win, and we did not do that.
Now, was Jonathan Gannon yesterday, when asked about the sloppiness, immediately went to what Bick just brought up. Got to play better, got to coach better. That's been repeated a lot after losses, as well as what Jonathan Gannon told Paul Calvisi about the short week and being maybe caught up by that.
Yeah, I mean, that's everybody has to do it, so it's not an excuse. Where I look at first is myself, and I obviously we didn't have good enough plans going into this game and didn't execute them well enough, and it falls on me. We got to play better than that coming out of a win in Dallas on a short week. We got to play better than that, especially against a good team, because if you don't play well in three phases, you're going to get whooped.
Yeah, repetition of message can work in two different ways. We joke about this all the time. If you continue, and it was a running joke on this, it kind of still is a running joke on this show. We refer to this show as the greatest radio show that's ever existed. And it's because if you repeat that message, people will believe you.
Right. That was the whole impetus of that joke.
Yes, repetition of message can work the other way too.
Yep.
When after getting your head handed to you by a division opponent and you fall back on the same refrains that you always do, people will start to believe you.
Yeah.
We didn't have a good enough plan. Okay, let's explore that. Whose job is it to come up with the plan? The head coach and the coaching staff. And that's repeated after every single loss. You're basically advertising that you're not doing your job to the fullest it can be done.
That's exactly right.
I get it. So many coaches do that because they don't want to go into the specifics of what happened. And they want to fall on it. And they want to show the leadership of falling on the sword for the team.
Right.
It's not that easy.
Certainly not. By comparison, Dan Campbell in Detroit, who's had a very difficult season himself in terms of adversity, he just took over the play calling for the Lions and did real well at it, and the Lions blew up. And somebody asked him about that. He said, "I've got a million ideas. I got a million things going through my head about what we can do. Don't worry about it. We're going to get there." That's reassuring to me. If you're a Lions fan, you're like, "Yeah,
let's break some kneecaps."
Exactly.
That's kind of the frustrating thing, is that as this season has gone downward, nothing has really changed. Then the whole quarterback thing was sort of its own thing. But going into the bye, I remember Kellen was filling in for you that week, Vince, I think. And he was saying, like, okay, if they lose again, something has to happen. They have to do something just to sort of reassure the fan base that they're still trying, and nothing changed with the coaching staff, with anything, play calling, anything.
Gannon was asked that question yesterday, too, in his media session. Lineup or staff changes need to be made after something like this?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, very dismissive of it. But again, what's he going to say, right? But
you
again,
could say we're going to reevaluate everything, or something like that.
Yeah. So again, I think that it's difficult for this fan base, and you mentioned it. They've been in Arizona for what 37, 38 years now, going into year 38, and they're still struggling with just finding a consistent foundation for winning, and it's difficult. It's difficult being a fan of this franchise. I ain't gonna lie. This is partly why this market has remained so divided, is that they just can't get anything going and keep it going consistently. They had it with Bruce Arians for a minute. They had it with Ken Wisenhunt for a minute, and that was it. That's been it. So, all right, but let's just narrow down into the moment and not get too crazy here, even though I'm kind of feeling
You're in
that
crazy
way.
mode?
Kind of in a crazy mode a little bit. But it's just the little things. So they're down 28-0, barely 16 minutes into the game. They come out, and it's like, okay, you gotta get something going here. A perfect pass to Marvin Harrison Jr. right in his hands. He's wide open. He just drops it. Second down, Jacoby Brissett scrambles for 9 yards. He actually is somewhat mobile, even though Jared Carlin was slandering him earlier today. On 3rd and 1, Greg Dortch just got blown up on almost every short yardage run down in pivotal situations yesterday. The Seahawks not only stopped the Cardinals, they embarrassed them. They came at them with intensity and heat, and almost every single time the ball carrier was hit behind the line of scrimmage and hit very hard.
Yeah.
They overwhelmed them.
That's a good word.
It wasn't just the offensive line, and I know in blocking schemes, tight ends are an extension of the offensive line. The tight ends, and Jonathan Gannon said, no, we're not going to throw this film away. We're going to watch this, and we're going to learn from it. The tight ends are really not going to enjoy having their blocking picked apart because it was non-existent. That first 4th down play, that was very instrumental in this game because it did set that. It continued the setting of the tone for Seattle.
Yep.
When there was 2 tight ends that or actually it was Higgins got absolutely blown up and just missed his block, but the play got blown up, and at that point you're like, this team has no hope. And it followed suit.
You brought it up earlier, and I keep bringing up the name Clayton Adams, that if Michael Bidwell needs to go shopping for a new head coach after this year, you might want to look back into that, because it's amazing how random the running game has become in his absence.
Well, the Cardinals last offseason did not find it necessary or prudent to bump up Clayton Adams' responsibilities on the coaching staff that he was already a part of, to make him a coordinator.
Yeah.
I would really, really... and look, Clayton Adams, obviously, his absence has been felt. It's been talked about a lot.
Yeah.
What the Cowboys are doing with him as offensive coordinator, they're having a really good year offensively. Does that make him qualified to be a head coach?
Probably not.
Probably not.
But again, if you are going to go and draft a quarterback this year to be the franchise guy, then you need to get everything in, to quote Brian Gregory, alignment. But you can't make fun of that now, because the Sun seemingly happens in alignment.
Well, go back to, and I'm not pinning this on Kyler Murray, I would say that the Cardinals might have been more aligned in 2019 than ever before, when Steve Keim, Cliff Kingsbury, and Kyler Murray were the triumvirate. They hired Cliff Kingsbury. They went and they made the out-of-the-box selection of Kyler Murray at number 1. There was alignment there. Did that work out well?
Well, they got to a playoff. They got to the playoffs.
They did.
Okay.
Eventually, it did not work out.
That is true.
For year 3, they were further ahead than this current regime.
Okay, fair and accurate.
But then the defense too also has to deserve some the brunt of this. How many times were defenders getting stiff-armed out of the way? The Seahawks just treated them with disdain and disrespect all day, and every corner of the football field.
They little brothered them.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's again, this was Marvin Harrison Jr.'s issue as a rookie. It's when he got on the field against real violent, super physical teams. It was no mas.
Yeah, we'll get more into MHJ's performance, because it was another step back in my opinion.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.